Hey, so just because these are a little tricky, we're going to try just 4 more that are, well, pretty ridiculously hard. So we're going to start off with square root of x minus 1 plus 2 equals the square root of 2x plus 2. So, again, I got 2 radicals, so it doesn't really matter. I might as well square now. If I square now, I'm going to have to FOIL. If I square later, I'm going to have to FOIL. So now, no matter what, I'm going to have to FOIL something with a radical. So I'm going to write it out twice. Square root of x minus 1 plus 2 times square root of x minus 1 plus 2. Square root of x minus 1 times itself is square root of x minus 1 squared. Square root of x minus 1 times positive 2 would be plus 2 square roots of x minus 1. 2 times square root of x minus 1 is 2 square roots of x minus 1. And 2 times 2 is 4. Combine a little bit more, simplify a little bit more. Square roots will cancel. Well, square root and squared will cancel. X minus 1. These are like terms, the square root of x minus 1, so I got 4 of them. So plus 4 square roots of x minus 1. And my 4 is still hanging out at the end. On the other side, if I square a square root, it cancels. So I just have 2x plus 2. Okay, so again, still have a square root. I'm going to go ahead and try to get that by itself. So I'm going to subtract my x, add my 1, and subtract my 4. So let's see. Here, I'll write it out for this one at least. So if I do that, on the left side, I'm just going to have 4 square roots of x minus 1. On the other side, if I subtract the x, I'll have x. If I add the 1 and minus the 4, I'll have minus 1. Okay, again, I could divide, but then I'll have fractions and radicals, which just seems evil to me. So I'm going to square from this point. If I square from this point, again, I got 2 terms with the x minus 1, so I will have to write it out twice and FOIL it. I'm going to assume I'm really good at FOILing now, and I'm just going to go ahead and write it. So x squared minus 2x plus 1. On the other side, I'm not going to have to write it out twice. It is a monomial because there is no plus or minus between that 4 and that square root. So I'm just going to get 16 when I square the 4, x minus 1 when I square the square root, and they'll still be multiplied together. So if I distribute, 16x minus 16 equals x squared minus 2x plus 1. It is a quadratic. Get everything over to one side equals 0. So x squared minus 18x plus 17. Factor x minus 17, x minus 1 equals 0. So x equals 17 and 1. Again, check both of them. So we'll go all out on checking the first one. So 17 minus 1, that's underneath the square root. So that would be square root of 16 or 4. That was added to 2, so I got 6 on one side. On the other side, it was square root of 2x plus 2, so 2 times 17 plus 2. So square root of 34 plus 2 would be square root of 36 or 6. So 6 equals 6, 17 does work. Try the same thing with 1. If I sub in 1, I'll get 1 minus 1 is 0, square root of 0, 0, plus 2 is 2. On the other side, 2 times 0, that's 1, sorry. 2 times 1 is 2, 2 plus 2 is 4, square root of 4 is 2. So 1 works, they both work. This one has 2 answers. Okay, let's try another one. Square root of x minus 5 plus 1 equals square root of x minus 2. Again, same thing, might as well square from this point. So if I square from this point, I will have to write out the first, well, the binomial on that left side, because it is a binomial, so I'm going to have to write it out twice and FOIL it. Square root of x minus 5 times square root of x minus 5, or times itself, is square root of x minus 5 squared. Square root of x minus 5 times a positive 1 is plus 1. Square root of x minus 5. Positive 1 times square root of x minus 5 is plus 1. Square root of x minus 5. 1 times 1 is plus 1. Simplify it a little bit more. Squaring a square root would cancel it out. So x minus 5. My square root of x minus 5s are like terms. So plus 2 square roots of x minus 5 plus 1. On the other side, if I square a square root, again it just cancels out. So x minus 2. I still have a square root, so I'm still going to go ahead and try to get everything on the other side. So I'm going to subtract the x, add the 5, and subtract the 1. If I do that, I'll just be left with 2 square roots of x minus 5. On the other side, x minus x will cancel. Negative 2 plus 5 minus 1 should be 2. Yes. So I can divide this time. When I divide this time, I'm not going to end up with a fraction. So I'm just going to get square root of x minus 5 equals 1. So since it goes in evenly, you might as well divide. Solve from here. I'll square both sides. X minus 5 equals 1. So x equals 6. Again, I always want to check. So I sub in 6. 6 minus 5 is 1. Square root of 1 is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. On the other side, I'll have 6 minus 2 is 4. Square root of 4 is 2. So it works. 6 is my answer. Okay, let's just continue making it evil. Let's try the next one. I got square root of 3x plus 1 equals square root of 5x. Again, might as well just start off squaring it, since no matter what, I'm going to have to FOIL with the square root. So I'll write it out twice. So square root of 3x plus 1 and square root of 3x plus 1 plus 1. Okay, so if I FOIL it, square root of 3x plus 1 times itself is square root of 3x plus 1 squared plus 1 square root of 3x plus 1 plus 1 square root of 3x plus 1 plus 1. Okay, simplify it a bit more. Square root of 3x plus 1 squared is just 3x plus 1. The square root of 3x plus 1s are like terms, so I got 2 of them. And plus 1. On the other side, when I square a square root, I just got 5x. So I'm going to simplify it a bit more. So I'm going to subtract my 3x, subtract my 1, and subtract my 1. So I'm going to get 2 square roots of 3x plus 1 equals 5x minus 3x should be 2x. Minus 1 should be minus 2. Again, this one I can go ahead and divide. Because when I divide, it is going to go, I can divide everything by it, it's going to go in evenly. So I can get square root of 3x plus 1 equals x minus 1. That's a little bit easier to deal with. So now again, I'm going to have to square. On my left side, when I square the square root, it's just going to cancel. I'll just get 3x plus 1. On my right side, it is 2 terms, so I will have to FOIL. Again, I'm assuming by now you all can do these types. So x squared minus 2x plus 1. It's a quadratic. Get everything over to one side equal to 0. So x squared minus 5x. Factor. I can pull out an x. So x times x minus 5 equals 0. So x equals 0 and 5. Let's check them both. If I put in 0, I'm going to get 3 times 0 is 0. Plus 1 is 1. Square root of 1 is 1. Plus 1 is 2. So on the left side I got 2. On the right side, if I put in 0, I get 5 times 0 is 0. Square root of 0 is just 0. 2 does not equal 0, so 0 is not an answer. Let's try the 5. I'm going to get 3 times 5 is 15. Plus 1 is 16. Square root of 16 is 4. Plus 1 is 5. Okay, if I go on the right side, I'll get 5 times 5 is 25. Square root of 25 is 5. So yeah, that does work. So 5 is my only answer. Let's try the last one. So I got square root of 4x minus 3 minus 4 equals square root of x minus 6. Again, I'm going to go ahead and start off by squaring. So I'll write out 4x minus 3 minus 4 twice so I can FOIL it. Okay, so if I FOIL it, I'll get the square root of 4x minus 3 times itself is squared, minus 4 square roots of 4x minus 3, minus 4 square roots of 4x minus 3, minus 4 is plus 16. So simplify a bit, I'll get that 4x minus 3, the square root and square root cancel out. I got like terms with the square root of 4x minus 3, so minus 8 of those, plus 16. On the other side, if I square root, it just cancels, so I just get x minus 6. Okay, so from here I still have a radical, so I'm going to move everything else over to the other side. So I'm going to subtract the 4x, add the 3, and minus the 16. So if I do that, on the left side I'll just get minus 8 square roots of 4x minus 3. On the right side, x minus 4x is minus 3x. Minus 6 plus 3 should be minus 3. Minus 16 would be minus 19. Oh, this is going to be horrible. Okay, so I'm going to quickly just divide everything by a -1 just to clear out my negatives. Okay, so I might as well square from this point. Probably should do these problems before. So if I square on the left side, that's not a binomial, it's a monomial, so I can just distribute the squared. So 8 squared is 64, and then I'll have 4x minus 3, because if I square the square root, my 8 was being multiplied by my square root, so my 64 is still multiplied by my square root. On the right side, I'm going to get, let's see, if I write this out and FOIL it, I'll get 9x squared. And then I'm going to go ahead and get 3 times 19. Okay, I'm bringing up a calculator. So, plus 57, plus 57. So 114x, and then plus 19 squared, so that would be plus 361. Okay, so let's multiply this out. So 64 times 4 would give me 256x. 64 times 3 would give me minus 192, still equals 9x squared plus 114x plus 361. It's a quadratic, let's get everything over to one side, so I'll subtract my 256 and I'll add my 192. So I'll get 0 equals 9x squared, 114 minus 256 is going to give me negative 142x, and then 361 plus 192 is going to give me 553. Now I got to see if I can factor this. Okay, so I'm going to admit that I kind of cheated and pushed pause on the whole recording thing and figured it out. It does factor to 9x minus 79 and x minus 7. So x equals 79 over 9 and 7. We could probably check the 7 pretty okay. Let's do that just to make sure. I would have 4 times 7 is 28, minus 3 is 25, square root of 25 is 5. 5 minus 4 is 1. On the other side, I would have 7 minus 6 is 1, square root of 1 is 1. So 7 definitely works. I mean, I guess we could try the 79 over 9, but hell, I don't want to. I say screw it and we'll just pretend it works. Who knows? You all can do that as a kind of, yeah, whatever. But if you made it through that, seriously, if you made that through that, up to say the squaring part, even to this part where we were going to square, we were thinking of squaring, then you're doing pretty damn good. There's no way anything this hard is going to come out in this course.